G'day fellas and welcome to a casted game. Spawning in on the north side of the map, playing the Mongols, we have got the Mister. On the opposite side of the map, we've currently got no sound, but don't worry, I'll get you some sound very shortly. Who have we got spawning in here?
We got the bee coming in with the Mongols as well, and wait a minute, that has to be... There's no way, right? There's no way, look at the forests.
What?
Look at the forests for B. Where should he place that town center at?
What?
He started on the left side, and one of the forests was in the corner, so he couldn't see it, but there was like no second backup forest. Oh my goodness. You gotta wonder if this is an admin restart, because there is a problem here. I don't think that this map spawned bugged. It's a big clearing, but what you're looking for when you have your starting position is two small forests. And if you look at the corner, there is a small forest that's different from the big forest in the corner, and the other one is over there, to the north of it. So you have both of your starting forests. It's just a matter of the fact that B started moving the wrong way. Oh no. He even sees the starting forest, but he wanted something else.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to, I mean, it's a little bit greedy there. I think he was probably looking for a forest plus a gold mine, didn't really find it, and subsequently decided to walk 1,000 miles. You know, I think they wrote a song about that. I think it was called I Will Walk 1,000 Miles. I think that was the name of the song. At least that was the lyrics to the song, at least. I'm curious how this game is going to unfold, though, because already we've seen a little bit of shenanigans right now. I mean, he kind of, it was a risky play right there from B, and you know we've talked about this multiple times. We saw this earlier in the game with Mister going for a bit of a risky play, and it not coming in, but yeah, I mean, now we see both players looking to scout each other out, and Mister going to be looking to pick up some sheep over on his opponent's side of the map. He's got to be very careful here. You can see him heading towards that town center. He is not going to skip a beat. He is on match point right now. This is, I mean, if he loses this game, that's it. He's not heading to Berlin.
Yeah, and as we discussed at the beginning of the set, the pressure is on him to make it to Berlin, because he was easily regarded as the top 8 player, but he has been handed a half a victory over here already for him, because that wasn't just a terrible start for B, that was an absolutely disastrous start, and the only song I can think about that's related to this move is just the coffin song, really, because by moving that town center for so long, he's also giving up villagers, so he's already behind 3 villagers in a mirror. And we've talked about how Mista is very effective with his Mongol builds. You see, he already has a pasture. This is just such a signature Mista style play. That very flexible, fast castle that Mista loves to play is so effective, especially when your opponent is behind like this. I'll have to dig up my notes on the previous set that was played by Mista. And yeah, there was a French versus Mongols match between Vortex and Mista last week in the qualifiers. And Mista had a super clean Mongols build. It was planned to be a fast castle, but the moment he realized that his opponent is gonna be a little more aggressive in Feudal Age, he started adding army. The flexibility at which Mista used his Mongols is something I've never seen before. So this is an exceptionally good situation for Mista to be in.
Yeah, and speaking of exceptionally good, we've got the Khan, which is exceptionally good at murdering sheep. 3 sheep so far this game have gone down to Khan arrows, Mister losing 2 of them, B losing 1 of them. And I really feel like B is punishing Mister for doing this. And I think he's doing the right thing, because Mister didn't have to do this. Mister came in close to the town center, he took out that first sheep, and as a result it forced, well not forced him, but it meant that he was relatively close towards B. And then B has subsequently just gone and continues right now to take out more sheep, as you see the numbers dwindling down for Mister, as he's only got 3 sheep following him. He used to have a herd of 6, but now he has but a small flock of 3.
Yeah, Mister had to make a decision. He brings back the sheep but gives up on vision, or he's going to just stay there, risk his sheep. On the opposing side, B added a second scout, so he could just collect sheep with that and use the Khan to fight. And you see that at least as a result...
it was close. It was close, Litakor. That was almost a dead Khan.
That was very close.
Yeah, that was almost a dead Khan.
That was very close. Tower also being built over here by Mista will be there just in time for the spears to arrive. And he spotted the barracks, that's what I wanted to say, just before that arrow volley came out from the town center. He saw the barracks with that con, so he knows the spearmen are coming, and he's going to react appropriately, dropping that tower.
Yeah, speaking of acting appropriately, that Khan going to continue trying to kite that spear. Only a single spear comes out, and you might be wondering why the heck there's a single spear. It's because the distance that he had to travel with that barracks was so damn long. It's basically half the map that he's had to go. But Mister now going to be aging up to the Feudal Age. B just dropping his landmark down right now. You can see the distance between, or not the distance, but just how far behind he is.
And let's keep in mind that Mista still has his con around, and that gold mine for B is very much exposed. It's a great big gold mine, but it's very much exposed because his small gold mines are in the middle of nowhere. Now, Mista is also taking a big gold mine at the bottom of the hill here, which is very common for Mongols to place their town centers in a way to have access to the big gold mine. And look what Mista is doing. He's moving away from the gold. This is going to be full Feudal Age pressure. He's realizing that there is blood in the water and there is a window to finish this game in the next few minutes if he's able to pressure this angle.
Yeah, stable going to get dropped down here as well. You can see the double archer production going to be coming out. Already got the pasture here as well, so if you're looking for lambs, you've come to the right place.
Oh, the villager. Mista doesn't get the will.
I don't know what you're looking at, Mister. Where was Mister getting the vills? Am I behind?
He was about to pick off a villager at the town center of B.
Oh.
You shouldn't be behind because we joined in at the same time.
Oh, okay.
There was a villager that made it back just with 2 HP. I was very close.
That's a bit strange. But yeah, I didn't see it. 3DB now getting up to the next stage. A lot of villagers in on... or sitting idly by the deer stones for quite some time. An outpost is going to be going up on top of this gold mine. He wants to keep this nice and safe. But now we see the archers already beginning to make their ways in, and it looks like it might be too little too late as the first villager of the game is going to be going down. At least I think that's the first villager, Lidicor. Second villager might potentially go down, but the archer will have to fall back as that outpost does get up very, very fortunately for Mister, or for B rather.
Indeed, that tower does go up, but this also means that Mista could drop a tower behind that gold mine in a way that the other tower can't shoot it, and there is also a couple of horsemen coming out for Mista. No Feudal Age upgrade just yet, but he's amping up the pressure, and as we discussed, B is just behind in everything that he does, and his OVU is also so far away that it takes forever for him to place production buildings there, so he's currently only on a barracks, and he's facing an increasing amount of archers and horsemen.
Yeah, it's essentially like he was AFK at the start of the game for 40 seconds. Like, if you were to just take his town center and then just delete it for 40 seconds and then, oh, there you go, there. You can have your town center at 40 seconds. That's essentially what's happened. So despite, you know, moving it up to a little bit of a more advantageous spot. Speaking of advantageous, it looks like a villager going to get picked off on the front line. B, unfortunately, going to be losing a couple there, but the Khan does get taken down for the Mister. A very unfortunate event for him. It's going to have to respawn at the town center. Jeez, you'd hate for that to happen, wouldn't you?
And at the same time, he's trying to burn down that OVU, so he's realizing that if Mista is defending his gold, there is going to be a window to push that OVU. And I loved how Mista utilized his speed arrow. He popped it before he started moving in, so he was aware that he needs to close the distance between the archers and the villagers before B spots it. So he's just going to pop it before he moves in, and then he dives in, kills the villager, and then using the buff of that speed arrow, he will disengage. Unlucky for him that the con went down, but guess what? Now, archers and horsemen, how do you defend your OVU against these with only spearmen?
It's a really difficult position because not only does your enemy have an archery range and a stable on their own OVU, but you've got absolutely nothing on yours. I mean, with the exception of a barracks, but that's probably not what you want to be making in this position. Ideally, you'd love to be going for full cavalry, but now B sitting here with 540 stone in the bank. He's not going to be able to do anything with this at the moment, and now we see that arrow getting popped off by the Khan, the only Khan that remains alive, at least at the moment. Archer's still trying their best to take out the spearmen. He's not doing enough micro with those bad boys. Now going to be able to get out on the field and look to pick off some of these spears, having a pretty good job of it as well, as only 2 spears remain. Actually, I take that back. It's 4 spears that remain because 2 more came out from that barracks. He's just continuing to give them the runaround. The good old-fashioned GUA runaround happening right there. But now a screen going to be drawn once again. And more reinforcing spears, so who knows, maybe these spears, there was actually something to them. And the archer mass continues to dwindle. B tries his best to hold on, despite being down by another 200 points at this point.
It is very difficult for Mista to reinforce this battle with more archers, so as he started losing them, it suddenly became very difficult to just add more. Whereas for B, he was able to pop out those spearmen very consistently. But look at what Mista is doing, and this is what I was referring to when I said flexibility. He's really in control of this civilization like no one else on this planet. He's realizing that, okay, I've done enough damage with my army. He stops making army. In just a split second, he's getting close to that castle age, and B is nowhere close.
Yeah, in addition to that, he's got so many pastures that are just hanging out here. He's dropping down a 5th one right now, so he is ahead of the game when it comes to this pasture production. But at the same time, speaking ahead of the game, down towards the Uvu, we've got some more horsemen doing what they do best, sieging.
And this doesn't let B move up, and that's the nice thing here for Mista. His opponent's army is rather slow moving, with mostly those spearmen being the main body of it. So you just gotta force the fights close to that Ovu out there. A little bit of a mismicro there by Mista, losing some of the archers over here, but I don't think that he has to be worried about this one at all, because the point here is just to delay as he's ready to go into Castle Age.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. As you mentioned, B nowhere near aging up at the moment. He has barely the resources of halfway to age up. It looks like a Khan going to be limping away. What's going on with that Khan? You got to. I think that Khan may have lost a leg there, unfortunately, but he did limp away. Was taken out. B going to be losing his Khan as well. So both players, Khans dropping down. And now we see Mr. heading into the Castle Age. Wheelbarrow also getting completed here for B. It's a curious decision to go for Wheelbarrow when you're this far behind, but I guess you got to start throwing anything at the wall and hoping something sticks.
And there is another villager that gets picked off here. B tried to repair that Ovu, and he will be successful, but it comes at a sacrifice, and now he lost another villager. 7 villager advantage for Mista, and it is going to be a considerable lead going into Castle as well. That, of course, means Lancers. The only good news for B is that Mista doesn't have a lot of stone, so he can't really pop out a ton of Lancers with double training right at the beginning.
Yeah, this is very, very interesting at this point. So we'll take a look over at Mister's base. He has got his step redoubt all the way up now. 12 villagers on this bad boy, about to finish it. And we are going to be seeing the flood begin. We're going to have crossbows. We're going to have men-at-arms. You're going to have... actually, you probably won't have crossbows because there's no armored units for your enemy. Doesn't really make a lot of sense. You're going to have lancers coming out as well. And then B's going to be trying to defend that, but you can see he's only sitting on 888. Extra lucky. Food now managing to climb up towards that 978 mark, but slowly and steadily getting there. He's really going to need to evaluate the situation, and he's going to have to do it very quickly. Look how many pastures he's got up now as well. 7 pastures. Jeez, he's having a tough time.
The problem is that his gold mine is about to be cut off, and oftentimes you see that the Mongol players could lose a game despite getting to Castle Age early if they lose access to the gold mine, because everything that they want to make in Castle, knights, as you said, the men-at-arms, potentially even crossbowmen, they are gold dependent. So if your opponent can push your gold mine before you can get those out, you could be in trouble. And this could exactly be the scenario here. You already see the tower being dropped by Mista up front to expand the Yam network. And with the first couple of men-at-arms coming in here, you are even in the risk of potentially getting that step redoubt denied.
I fear you may be correct. Not enough villagers coming forward to do this. He's got 12 villagers on it, but he's going to need to go up really quickly. Mista identifies this, and now he begins to come in. We may have seen a significant mistake unfolding at the front of the base, and not just that town center move that took 40 seconds, but we have got a complete deny of this landmark. It's a good game. Ladies and gentlemen, we are heading to game number 7. At least it seems to be the only possible outcome. I can't imagine that there is any way he holds on from this position.
Yeah, me neither. I mean, he has to pull everything, and it's gonna come down to the fact that he was already behind in villagers, so of course he's gonna get this step redoubt up. Like, there is no doubt about that. The question is, how many villagers will he have when that step redoubt is finished? It is actually turning into a step redoubt.
Why is that?
You don't know the doubt reference.
I'm not even faking that. That one went over my head. That was a whoosh. I'm like, what do you mean it's a step redoubt? Of course it's a... What are you doubting about this step redoubt? It looks like the step redoubt does manage to get up, so...
Yeah, congratulations. Welcome to Castle Age, I guess.
Yes. I'll take the tax of 15 villagers. Enjoy your stay. 33 villagers.
And there's going to be 5 more in that tower, so Not
Yeah.
only are you taking down that like dozen of villagers around that step right out, you're also going to take down 5 more inside that tower, and even the Ovo is depleted for B, so it's like everything going wrong that could possibly go wrong.
Yeah, it's not pretty right now. Mr. sitting on 49 villages, B sitting on 33. So look, even if he somehow manages to hold on, he's going to be behind when it comes to his economy. As I mentioned earlier, you know, we see a huge amount of pastures coming out for him. So it's important to remember that if you're in the lead, it's absolutely fine for you to be dropping down pastures. But if you're behind, you don't want to be dropping down pastures because you need to try and get ahead. And throwing down pastures is not going to help you get ahead. It's basically like throwing down farms. And now we hear the very first Springald being shot out of the game. It looks like Mr. dropping down a Springald emplacement in that, and he is just cleaning up unit after unit. We see the Khan once again going to be falling back on towards the town center. These armored units, they've got their +1 armor. Do we see improved siege engineering coming in? Not yet, it seems, but no blacksmith getting dropped down just yet. And it looks like good game is going to get called. Mr. takes it through to game number 7, and we are going to a decider.
Probably the costliest defeat here for B, because going into this one as a Mongol's Mirror, it's sort of an even chance for both. But as you said, just by having that start, he put himself into a very, very deep hole. And basically, Mista could have an advantage that he could have just dreamed of before this game. Having Frey Villagers advantage consistently in a Mongol's Mirror is an absolute dream, and that's exactly the dream that Mista was living. Not a single time in this game had Mista have lower villagers or lower overall population than the opponent. That's how impactful that first Frey Villagers was.
It's absolutely insane to see how far he is behind. It's quite literally like the game started and he walked away for 40 seconds. There's just been an insane lead that's been happening the entire game, and it just continues to build. You can see he loses a couple of villages. He doesn't necessarily go idle. I think he's training villagers the entire time. It's just, you know, he got to the castle age a little bit later, a little bit more delayed, 40 seconds later than his opponent, and he really got paid. He really got punished for it.
And indeed, one of the other factors is that not only did he venture very far out, it also meant that he wasn't able to secure his ultimate goal, which was a good gold mine. He had a fairly exposed big gold mine, and by moving away, he also moved very far away from that Ovu, so he wasn't able to place pastures in the influence radius of the Ovu, unlike Mista, and the entire thing just snowballed upon him here. And yeah, if we have Mista winning this set in game number 7, we'll be looking back at this game as the potential major cause for B losing it. So, like, as impactful as game number 2 was with the Chinese Tower Rush and how big of a motivation that gave to B and how important it was to just even things out there in that situation, this game could have very similar effect just for Mista.
Yeah. Yeah, very interesting decision making there from B. It was his decision to move away from that smaller wood patch, and it definitely cost him the game there. So unfortunate stuff from him. But I hope you guys are looking forward to game number 7 on YouTube. It'll be the next one coming up. More importantly, make sure you check out Liticor. Plenty of AoE4 content over there. Let's get into it, Liticor. I'm looking forward to it.